must be too real to touch. You'll never in your life try to knock the truth. The illest shit ever. Get ready, cause this is about to get heavy.
Trying to keep me out, trying to censor what I say, cause they don't like what I'm talking about. So what's wrong with the media today?
Prove I'm lying if I ain't correct.
What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. I want to give you guys some of my thoughts, just my thoughts, on this whole Canelo versus Triple G situation. A lot of people were asking me about it, and it's a popular topic in the sport of boxing. But as a boxing journalist, a reporter, someone who just is a fan, I've noticed something in the game, and there's a lot of soft boxing fans. And the reason I say soft is because when it all is said and done, when you lay everything out on the table, a lot of people aren't consistent with what they say. They'll have a whole set of rules for this fighter that they don't like. Then the fighter they do like, it'll be a completely different set of rules. And it's just nonsense if you really break it down. And that's what new media hopes to fizzle out, so you can separate the real. Now, the reason I'm starting with this little preamble is because there's a lot of people that want to see Canelo versus Triple G. But there's also a level of fear. Fans of these fighters who don't want to see the fight, right? And they don't want to see it, and that's what I'm going to kind of break down in this video, just give my thoughts and stuff. And it's fear will make people do crazy things. That's what I've noticed in my lifetime. It'll make people do crazy things. Again, a lot of people hold a certain, like, let's say there's a fighter you don't like, you'll be mad if he doesn't fight his mandatory. But then when it comes to Canelo Triple G, if you're a diehard Canelo fan, some of the Canelo fans are making excuses for why he shouldn't fight Triple G, right? And then to make that even more fucked up, to make that matters worse, make it even more of a thorn in the sport of boxing, is some of those same fighters that are making excuses why the fight shouldn't happen. They'll also point the finger at other people like, oh, Ego, you're a racist. You're a racist. You hate Canelo. And they'll make it like this is a personal beef. I actually really like Canelo as a fighter. I like Golovkin as a fighter too. I like boxing. And that's the funny thing, like you seen Paulie Malignaggi in the clip. Now, the difference between me and a lot of boxing fans, I could just separate my emotion from my rational thinking. Even if I like a fighter, I could still say Canelo needs to fight this guy, X, Y, and Z. You know what I mean? A lot of people can't rationalize and do that, right? So on my Instagram, make sure you follow me at Boxingego. There's a movement that started. It's the hashtag Give Me My Belt, and you can see tons of people are doing it. Give Me My Belt. And this is nothing against Canelo or Triple G. I simply am a boxing fan and a reporter, and we should be pressuring to see the good fights. Everyone wants to compare this to Mayweather Pacquiao. Nobody that I know that really wanted to see the fight enjoyed waiting 5 years. So that shouldn't be, people say it like it's some cool shit that Mayweather and Pacquiao took 5 years. That was a complex situation. You know what I mean? You had two different guys. One of the guys used to be with the other guy's promoter, meaning Mayweather was with Top Rank. Then he bought himself out of his contract, and he ended up doing astronomical numbers on his own after he left Top Rank. So there's some resentment there, I'm sure. You know what I mean? Imagine that if you're a record label and you had Kendrick Lamar or Katy Perry or somebody, and they buy themselves out of the contract because you're not really doing nothing with them, and then they go on to be massive stars like Beyonce and stuff. You're like, damn, that sucks. They're making all this money and I'm not getting a cut of it. So there's intricacies like that. They were also, Floyd left HBO when he went to Showtime. They also had the drug testing at the point in time where Mayweather was calling for the drug testing that hadn't been popularized in the sport of boxing. So most mega fights or fights in general weren't doing any above and beyond Olympic style drug testing. And then you had Pacquiao and Freddie Roach and Team Pacquiao who weren't trying to do that, right? And they're like, no, he's not the boss. We're equal stars. He's not no A-side to us. We ain't doing the drug test. So then you had both camps, Floyd Sr., Freddie Roach, Arum, Floyd Mayweather, all these people, they were suing each other for slander and talking out in the media. So again, my point being is this. That was, the fans waited that duration, but it's not like we enjoyed it. And there were a lot of complexities that created that whole Mayweather-Pacquiao buildup. But that shouldn't be the benchmark for what should happen in boxing, especially when you have Canelo versus Triple G, who are on the same network. The companies, I have interviewed Tom Loeffler before of K2 Promotion. He says he has a good relationship with really all the promoters. Al Heyman, Golden Boy. They're on the same network. So there's really no reason for this fight not to happen. I haven't heard of any like drug testing or anything like that that would prohibit this fight. That makes sense. You know what I mean? The drug testing wasn't a bad idea, as we've seen Alexander Povetkin and other people. You know what I mean? So the drug testing wasn't a bad idea from Floyd. But making Canelo weight at 155, that's something different, because you're fighting for middleweight titles at your own man-made, manufactured weight class. That's completely different. Drug testing, see, let me break it down, man. We're going to get into this. You look at Floyd Mayweather when he proposed drug testing in the Pacquiao fight. Listen to his standpoint. I just want to fight a great fighter on an even playing field. So if you beat me naturally, and I'm cool with that, right? So if you think about it, him introducing, ushering, and pioneering drug testing into the sport of boxing, it didn't hurt boxing. In fact, it helped boxing, because how many people, Berto, Lamont Peterson, Felix Sturm, Alexander Povetkin, think about all the people. I can't, this off the top of my head, I can't think of everybody who got busted since 5 years ago when Mayweather said that. But there's been a ton of people who have tested positive. Ray Beltran, just different people like that. John Molina Jr. tested for something. There's a lot of people that have tested for something. So if you think about it, the drug testing was introducing something that benefited really all of boxing, because we should have a clean sport. Canelo weight benefits Canelo. That doesn't benefit the whole world of boxing. That benefits him. So to me, Canelo and the whole Golden Boy, what they've done is they're trying to, I guess, take the Mayweather model of using A-side leverage, but they're kind of taking it to a whole nother level, because the stuff that Mayweather did was customary. Like, you know what I mean? It's customary for Marvin Hagler to get the bigger purse, or this person to Sugar Ray Leonard to pick the ring size, the glove size and stuff if they're the A side. That's just stuff that's always been in boxing, who gets top billing and stuff. The drug testing was the first thing that was kind of above and beyond. And again, that helps all of boxing. They should all be competing on an even playing field. But Canelo weight doesn't help anyone other than Canelo. You know what I mean? You don't see Golovkin fighting non-middleweights at 155. You don't see 154-pounders other than Canelo fighting for middleweight titles at this catch weight of 5 pounds under. You know what I'm saying? So that's the big difference. But back to the fans. Some of the fans are vaginas, and they say all this, they talk all this big and bad stuff like they really want the best. It's about the best fighting the best. And then when it comes time to the best fighting the best, you want to protect your fighter. I have nothing against Canelo, and I have nothing against Triple G. This is a good fight. And to further prove what I'm saying to you, I will give anybody $50 of my money on PayPal right now if you produce a video that I stated where I said a mega fight like Mayweather versus Pacquiao I did not want to see, where I said I did not want to see Adonis Stevenson versus Sergey Kovalev, where I made a video and said I didn't want to see Andre Ward versus Sergey Kovalev, and that fight shouldn't happen. I may have said something like, oh yeah, they can have Andre Ward moving up into a new division, he can take a couple tune-up fights, but we will see that. I have never shitted on Andre Ward versus Sergey Kovalev fight happening, right? I simply have not done that. Deontay Wilder versus Tyson Fury, there's never been a mega fight. Lomachenko, Walters, there's never been a big fight that was proposed that made sense, where people were in the same division, that I've said, oh, this fight shouldn't happen. I don't want to see that. The only time I've said something like Canelo Khan, I didn't really want to see that, because you had a guy who had durability issues at 35 and 40, moving all the way up to Canelo weight at 155. That's different. But I'm talking about even fights like Ward versus Kovalev, 2 undefeated fighters. You've never heard me say I don't want to see them, and this fight shouldn't happen. I've never blocked or prevented a fight like that. Same thing with Canelo Triple G. But all of a sudden, when you get radical fan bases, read between the lines, look at and listen to what people say. All of a sudden, people say, oh, you hate Canelo. You hate Canelo because I'm pushing for this fight. But why didn't you say that when I wanted to see Kovalev versus Stevenson? Why didn't you say I hate Stevenson? Why did you say I hate Ward when I want to see Ward versus Kovalev? Because again, the fans, a lot of the fans they'll tell you one thing, but mean something totally different. They don't mean what they say. You know that I just want to see good fights. right? So me pushing for Canelo Triple G, this is not rushing Canelo. This is nothing against Triple G. This is nothing against Canelo. This is me simply being a boxing fan, a true fan, and not making excuses. Canelo beat Cotto. Before he beat Cotto, he knew what he was going up against. He knew if he defeated, which he said he was going to do, if he defeated Miguel Cotto, he would inherit his belts, aka inherit his baggage and his problems, which is Gennady Golovkin, who is a mandatory. So why would I not want to see Golovkin get a shot? Sergio Martinez didn't really want to fight him, went on to fight Cotto. You look at Cotto, had the belts, was fighting guys like Sergio, who had a bum knee, got the belts. Then he fought Daniel Gills and people like that. Then he made a massive fight with Canelo. Now Canelo has the torch. And this is the difference too. Sergio and Cotto, and I'm not making excuses because they did avoid Triple G too, as far as I'm concerned. But they were also more established and veterans in the game with signature wins. I knew Sergio Martinez was good. Like Sergio Martinez had knocked out Paul Williams, right? He had beat Chavez Jr. He had signature wins where he looked really good. Same thing with Cotto. I mean, look at Cotto. Cotto has Mosley fights. He has Ab Judah. He has a ton of impressive wins in his category, in his resume, right? Canelo is the young champion. He's younger than Sergio, younger than Cotto. So his legacy is not as proven to me because I was really thinking about this. What is Canelo's best win? Probably Cotto. Other than that, what's his best win? You're going to say Trout? Some people thought it was controversial. You think Lara? Some people thought Lara won that fight. You know what I mean? He definitely lost to Mayweather. Shane Mosley. You know what I mean? So it's about Canelo paving his way. He's a young, strong champion. And furthermore, other than it being a meaningful fight, this is a good fight where either guy technically can win. I have questions about Gennady Golovkin as well. I want to see him step up in with somebody I feel has a style that could pose some problems for him and make him have to figure something out, maybe even revert to a plan B. And I think Canelo could do that. Canelo has fast hands. Canelo seems to be tough, never been knocked out, never been stopped. He's only has one loss, and that was to the best fighter in the world. So I have questions about both guys. So of course I'm going to push for this fight because it's a meaningful fight, aside from it being a mandatory obligation. You know what I mean? I really want to see Gennady Golovkin step up. And again, it's funny to people who call you all types of names and, oh, you're racist. Look at these comments. Look at these comments right now after I started the Give Me My Belt movement. Here, let me read my caption. Well, it's safe to say boxing fans are speaking their mind loud and clearly, and they want to see Canelo versus Triple G next. Like I told you guys the other day, the hashtag Give Me My Belt movement is among us. Fight or flight. Hashtag Canelo Triple G. Look, give me my belt. Triple G, dope. Hell yeah, Boxingego. Thanks for giving us fans a voice. Let it be known to Golden Boy that we want the best fighting the best. Canelo versus Triple G. Canelo team, right? At 162, we ain't scared of Triple G. So it's not, how am I racist for pushing for this fight? And there's people of all races saying they want to see this fight. Hashtag defend your belt at middleweight, new movement. You know what I mean? And there's a select few radical fans who are trying to make excuses as to why this fight shouldn't happen. And it's just crazy to me that fans, again, people talk all that rah-rah stuff. Post-fight, Canelo was like, oh, we Mexican and we don't back down. Like we say in Mexico, we don't back down. I invited Golovkin in. Okay, you invited him and able into the ring after you knocked out a welterweight in Amir Khan. That's cool. Now invite him to fight, period. And again, it's just funny to me that as a boxing reporter, you get a lot of people who throw out any kind of decoy that they can. Oh, Ego, you're racist. You want to see Canelo Golovkin. Who doesn't want to see? I got a better question. If you don't want to see Canelo versus Triple G, why don't you want to see the fight? You know what I mean? You got two fighters with one loss between the two. Like Porter versus Thurman, another example. Same setup. One undefeated fighter who has a lot of power in Keith Thurman. Then you got another powerful guy like Sean Porter with one loss. That's the same setup for Canelo Triple G. And I've never said anything about not wanting to see Porter Thurman either. That's my point. But again, the scared fans, which is kind of the topic of this video, they're going to try to lead you astray and say, oh, this fight shouldn't happen. And I'm hearing just the most ridiculous excuses as to why Canelo shouldn't fight this man, Gennady Golovkin. And it's crazy. And you're a champion. You don't really, once you're a champion, you have a bullseye on your back. Of course, people are going to want to fight you because Canelo brings a big fan base. He has a belt. Look at these comments. Give me my belt. Give me my belt. Give me my belt. But I'm racist because I want to see this fight, right? And it's just crazy that people are trying to justify all the bullshit for why Canelo shouldn't fight him. Oh, Ego, you're racist because you want to see it. Oh, Triple G should come down to 155. Why should Gennady Golovkin have no guys? Why should he have to come down to 155? Well, who does that benefit? Canelo only? You know what I mean? So this whole A-side thing is faulty on behalf of Team Canelo. Like, you're not doing something that just is advocating a clean sport. You're doing something that benefits you and gives you only a strategic advantage. And it's above and beyond what other people. It's not. I don't remember the last time where I seen someone making a fighter drop down 5 pounds, and they were clearly big enough to rehydrate and make the next division up or whatever, and they had titles in that division. And again, just look for consistency. A lot of the Canelo fans I seen, they call Mayweather all types of names for moving up. He moved up from 47 to 52, so that's still, he has to gain weight. I seen him on whatever it was, 24/7 or All Access, and he was like eating steaks and stuff trying to gain weight, right? I seen that. And a lot of the diehard Canelo fans that I seen were saying, oh, he's a bitch and he's trying to drain Canelo. Canelo is 23. If you're getting drained, if you have to drop 2 pounds and that's draining you at age 23, then you're clearly in the wrong division. That's really what it is. Yeah, I'd understand if you had been through a bunch of wars and you're 37 years old, yeah, making like a De La Hoya when he fought Pacquiao. That might be hard on your body, dropping 2 pounds, or Bernard Hopkins or something. But Canelo's 23. He's like a fresh chicken, you know what I mean, a fresh spring chicken or whatever. He could have made that weight. And if he couldn't, then that shows you he was too big for the weight class, and he was like already killing himself to make 54, and that's his bad. Because to this point, he still hasn't moved up to the full middleweight, right? But anyway, that's what, look at people's logics. They say Mayweather, for moving up from 47, Mayweather actually had to move up. He had to alter more pounds from what he had been fighting than Canelo. Canelo had to drop 2, but Mayweather had to go up from 47 to 52. You do the math. 47, 48, 49, 50, 51, 52. Mayweather went up 5. Canelo only had to come down 2. And he was younger, right? And undefeated as well. So that's basically what it is. Look at people's logic. They say, oh, Mayweather's a coward. He's trying to drain Canelo. So what is Canelo doing to Triple G if he's making a 34-year-old who hasn't fought at 54 in God knows how long, make him come down 5 pounds to 155? Then another excuse that I'm hearing from Canelo fans is, oh, he should fight a guy like Canelo versus Lemieux. Why should Canelo immediately go up and fight one of the strongest guys in the division? But see, this is the thing. When the WBC had the negotiations with Team Canelo and Team Triple G, they both agreed for one voluntary interim fight between whoever they wanted, and then they were supposed to meet in the fall in September, right? Golovkin chose to fight his IBF mandatory, which was the undefeated Dominique Wade. Even though a lot of people hadn't heard from him, it's still satisfying a mandatory, so he doesn't have to worry about that for probably like another year, 9 months at least, right? So he did that and fought someone in his division. Canelo, on the other hand, said, I'm fighting a quote-unquote money fight against a welterweight who has chin issues in a lot of people's mind, in Amir Khan. He said that was a big money fight, and from the pay-per-view numbers that they kind of sort of did not release, it didn't sound like it was that big of a money fight, because it didn't trump or come close to what the Cotto fight did. It actually did probably half of what Canelo Cotto did. You know what I'm saying? So again, people saying, oh, why he should take a fight with David Lemieux or something to acclimate to the middleweight division. That's what this last fight was supposed to be. A build-up fight, a tune-up fight, just like Andre Ward. You know what I mean? Andre Ward is fighting Kovalev. I talked to Kathy Duva and Ward. The goal is, the contracts are signed to have those two face each other later this year. And if all goes well and they stay on their winning streak and they haven't been beaten since they've been pros, and Ward hasn't been beaten since he was like 12 years old, right? So they're both undefeated, so they should be the favorites against really anyone else that they fight other than each other. And the goal is to fight each other. So if you look at it, Kovalev's fighting, he fought Pascal. They're supposed to have 2 interim fights. Pascal, he did a rematch, money fight over in Canada. And then he fighting Isaac Chilemba, who's a kind of herky-jerky, trickier, defensive-minded fighter. That's to prepare him for Andre Ward. Ward fought a powerful mandatory who was undefeated, a big puncher with a Cuban background in Sullivan Barrera, which is obviously a style that would help prepare him for another massive puncher in the division in Sergey Kovalev, right? So, hold on. Chicks hit me up and stuff. But he's supposed to be oh wow. He's supposed to be fighting. See, little chicks. He's supposed to be fighting to prepare him for that. That's the point. And he's going to fight another time, most likely in the summer. And he's going to fight in the summer against whoever. But ideally, I imagine it's supposed to be somebody who will help gear him up for a Kovalev fight, right? He's not going to, most likely, and this is, I would put money on this, but I guarantee you Andre Ward is not going to, for his last interim fight before fighting Kovalev, I guarantee you he's not going to pull up a middle-of-the-road guy that's been knocked out at 68 and pull him up to 75. I can almost assure you he's not going to go that route. He'll pull actual light heavyweight because he needs to gear up and condition his body to be ready for Kovalev. But that's not what Canelo did. Canelo, he was pretty much teetering in between two higher divisions, 54, 55, and 160, and he chose a welterweight who's been knocked out multiple times and hurt multiple times and knocked down multiple times, right? So that doesn't really prepare you for a Gennady Golovkin, which is what I said from the beginning. And I'm gonna start playing audio clips because that's what new media does. So people need to stop with these excuses. Good fights need to happen. Mayweather versus Pacquiao was an anomaly. Glad we eventually got to see it, but a lot of fans are scared, man. It's like they don't want to see their cash cow or their favorite fighter lose. Oh, he should fight David Lemieux. David Lemieux would have been a perfect fight, even off of a loss, even if he didn't fight Tapia. That would have been a perfect fight to gear him up for a Golovkin, but instead he fought Amir Khan. That doesn't really prove that. I told you this stuff is easy to call for me. Like, that's why I made the 7 reasons why Canelo versus Khan shouldn't happen. I didn't even have to do the 7 reasons on why Canelo would win, because throughout my channel I told you who would win. That Canelo was too big, too strong, and Khan, although he could have success, which he did, he could look good for rounds, the inevitable was near, and the size differential and stuff would all add up. So this whole, Canelo, he should get a soft touch and a fight that's going to prepare him. Just crazy to hear all these excuses. People you have to read some of the comments. People are making excuses. Oh, this is great. Golovkin, and this is the other thing that I noticed. Now, when the threat wasn't real, and what I mean by that is, let's say you hate Andre Ward. When Golovkin was linked to fight Andre Ward, a lot of people said, oh, that fight shouldn't happen. Ward's inactive, yada, yada, yada. No one was really, there's not a lot of people other than me and other people and a couple other channels maybe that were criticizing Golovkin, saying this is a fight that should happen. There's no excuse not to happen, especially if you're struggling to find opponents. But a lot of people were honestly siding with Golovkin and saying he shouldn't fight Ward, making excuses. And they weren't talking about anything about his resume or whatnot. And meanwhile, people like me, they were saying, and you could check my old videos, we were saying stuff like, I was saying, oh, Golovkin, his resume needs help. Ward would be a certifiable great win for him. And people disagreed. Now the threat got real because Canelo is being targeted by this man, and they know, the fans know, this is a real life threat here with Golovkin. Hashtag give me my belt. Make sure you guys hit that hashtag give me my belt. But the fans know that this is a real life threat. All of a sudden, they want to critique his resume now. But they didn't want to do it when Golovkin was being matched up with Ward because they didn't give a shit about Ward. But now that he's being matched up with Canelo, and you don't want to see your dude potentially lose, because they know this is, again, this is a real life threat to anybody. To be honest, he's a good fighter. And now all of a sudden, oh, what has Triple G really done? He's fighting bums. Look at his resume. Oh, he needs to come down to 155. And it's excuse after excuse on why he should not fight. Hashtag give me my belt. Make sure you guys spread the message. I like Canelo. I like Triple G. But above and beyond, I like the truth. And this is a good fight. So if it's a good fight, like I always do, I am not going to reject it and say the fight shouldn't happen. I'll leave that to some of you guys who are scared. You had no problem with this man Canelo fighting an undersized guy in Amir Khan with durability issues doing this to him. A lot of you guys didn't have no problem with that. But now, picking on someone his own size, like a Triple G, they're about the same size. Look at their 30-day weigh-ins before their last fight. They were less than a pound within the same weight of each other, 30 days out before their last fight. And again, people didn't have a problem with Khan getting slept, challenging himself, trying to take a risk, and being undersized and coming up short. But some of those same fans are now making excuses why this guy is such an A-side, he shouldn't have to fight as mandatory. Crazy. Let me know what you guys think of this. Do you want to see Canelo Triple G? Again, like I said earlier, the biggest thing is if you don't want to see it, why? Drop it in the comment section. Make sure you like my video. As always, hate, comment, and subscribe. Till next video, is Ego signing off. So if you enjoyed this video and want more content like this on the channel, you can show your appreciation by going to the PayPal donate button or the YouTube support button. And you can donate any amount that you feel is equivalent to the value of this video. Much more to come. Thank you guys for your support. Boxingego, the future of boxing.